Down and out. Without money or opportunities. He was down and out. Down and out, idiom. Having no money, no luck, and no opportunities. After the lab closure, many early career scientists felt down and out. Down the drain, idiom. If money or work goes down the drain, it is wasted. The failed trial meant months of research went down the drain. Down under, idiom. Australia or in Australia. Researchers down under are studying coral bleaching in the Great Barrier Reef. Down under, idiom. Australia or in Australia. Many environmental studies are conducted down under to observe unique ecosystems. Downhill, towards bottom. Towards the bottom of a hill or slope. The water flowed downhill through the microfluidic channels. Drag, time. To continue for too much time in a boring way. The lecture dragged on, making it hard for students to stay attentive. Drag SB along out to etc. To make someone go somewhere they do not want to go. The intern was dragged along to the conference despite her reluctance. Drain, flow away. If something drains, liquid flows away or out of it. The water drained slowly from the filter funnel. Drain, for water. A pipe or hole that takes away waste liquids or water. The lab sink has a drain for disposing of liquids safely. Drain, make tired. To make someone very tired. The 12-hour experiment completely drained the lab assistant. Drain, reduce. To reduce or cause something to reduce. Continuous testing drained the chemical stock rapidly. Drain, remove liquid. To remove the liquid from something. The scientist drained the excess solvent from the reaction flask. Draw a comparison, a distinction. To say there is a similarity or difference. The study drew a comparison between bacterial growth rates under different temperatures. Draw STH Nesby across and back over etc. To pull something or someone gently in a particular direction. She drew the cover over the microscope slide to protect it from dust. Draw the line at STH. To decide what is unacceptable. Ethics committees draw the line at human cloning. Draw the line at STH, idiom. Knowing where an activity or situation becomes unacceptable. The lab supervisor drew the line at unsafe handling of chemicals. Draw to a close end. To be almost finished. The seminar on genetics drew to a close after 3 hours. Dread. To feel worried or frightened about something not happened yet. The students dreaded the announcement of their lab grades. Drift, situation. To get into a situation without a particular plan. The graduate drifted into research by chance after completing her degree. Drift across the down towards etc. To be moved slowly somewhere by wind or water. The pollen grains drifted across the petri dish surface. Drift apart. If two people drift apart, they gradually become less friendly. Over time, the lab partners drifted apart due to different research interests. Drift off. To gradually start to sleep. After the long experiment, the technician drifted off at his desk. Drive, make work. To provide the power or energy that makes someone or something work. ATP molecules drive the molecular motors inside cells. Drive STH out. To force someone or something to leave a place. The new regulations drove harmful bacteria out of the culture. Drive send SB round the bend, idiom. To make very angry. Repeated sensor failures drove the operator round the bend. Drop dead. To die very suddenly. The old computer monitor seemed to drop dead during the experiment. Drop dead. To die very suddenly. The elderly tree appeared healthy but dropped dead overnight due to sudden fungal infection. Drop it the subject. To stop talking about something especially because it is annoying or upsetting someone. The professor told the students to drop the subject after a heated argument about the experiment results. Drop it the subject, idiom. To stop talking about something, especially because it is annoying or upsetting someone. After repeated arguments, the lead researcher told the assistants to drop the subject. Drought. A long period when there is no rain and people do not have enough water. The prolonged drought in the region severely reduced crop yields. Drown, cover. If a loud noise drowns the sound of something else, it prevents that sound from being heard. The clanging of machinery drowned the soft beeping of the incubator alarm. Dry, boring. If a book, talk, or subject is dry, it is not interesting. The lecture on statistical formulas was dry and difficult for many students to follow. Dry up. If a supply of something dries up, it ends. The water supply in the lab dried up after the leak was fixed improperly. Dubious, doubting. Not certain that something is good or true. She was dubious about the reliability of the new chemical reagent. Dubious, not true. Thought not to be completely true, honest or legal. The results from the unverified source seemed dubious and required replication. Due, behavior. Correct and suitable. The student's conduct in the lab was due and professional. Due, deserve. Something that is due to you is something that is owed to you or something you deserve. The researcher received due recognition for her groundbreaking discovery. Dump, end relationship. To suddenly end a romantic relationship. After the lab project ended, she dumped her partner who had been uncooperative. Dump, untidy place. A place that is dirty and untidy. The old storage room in the chemistry lab was a dump filled with outdated equipment. Dump sth on, inf down, etc. To put something somewhere quickly and carelessly. He dumped the reagents on the bench without checking the labels. Dynamic, changing. Continuously changing or moving. The dynamic environment in the incubator affects bacterial growth rates. Early on. In the first stage or part of something. Early on in the project, we identified the key variables for testing. Earn, deserve. To get something that you deserve because of your work qualities, etc. She earned a scholarship for her outstanding contributions to the chemistry lab. Easily the best, worst, biggest, etc. Certainly the best, worst, biggest, etc. This method is easily the best approach for DNA extraction in the lab. Eccentric. Behaving in a strange and unusual way. The eccentric scientist always wore mismatched gloves during experiments. Echo, repeat. To repeat something that someone else has said. The student echoed the teacher's instructions to confirm understanding. Echo, sound, intransitive. If a sound echoes or a place echoes with a sound, you hear the sound again. The footsteps echoed down the long, empty corridor. Echo, sound. A sound that you hear more than once because you are in a big empty space. The echo of the bell in the empty lecture hall was clearly audible. Economic to political social order. System of organization. The economic order affects welfare. Effectively, really. Used when you describe what the real result of a situation is. The incubator effectively maintains the required temperature for bacterial growth. Elaborate. Complicated, detailed or made carefully from many parts. The researcher presented an elaborate model of the molecular structure. Elapse. If time elapses, it passes. Several hours elapsed before the chemical reaction was complete. Elated. Extremely happy and excited. She was elated when her experiment finally produced the expected results. Electric, exciting. Full of excitement and emotion. The announcement of the discovery created an electric atmosphere in the lab. Elimination. When you eliminate someone or something. The elimination of contaminated samples ensured the accuracy of the study. Elusive. Difficult to describe, find, achieve, or remember. The exact cause of the mutation remained elusive despite multiple trials. Embarrass. To make someone feel ashamed or shy. The incorrect hypothesis embarrassed the young researcher in front of the class. Embody. To represent an idea or quality exactly. The scientist's careful methodology embodies the principles of good laboratory practice. Embrace, noun. When you put your arms around someone. The colleagues shared a brief embrace after successfully completing the experiment. Embrace, verb. If you embrace someone, you put your arms around them. They embrace to celebrate the successful project completion. Eminent. Famous, respected or important. The eminent scientist received numerous awards for her work on gene editing. Emit. To send out gas, heat, light etc. into the air. The volcano emits sulfur dioxide and ash during eruptions. Empathy. The ability to imagine what it must be like to be in someone's situation. Doctors need empathy to understand patients' experiences and provide better care. Empirical. Based on experience or scientific experiments and not only on ideas. Empirical evidence from lab trials supports the new vaccine's efficacy. Endeavor. An attempt to do something. The new space mission is a scientific endeavor to study distant exoplanets. Endorse. To say publicly that you support a person, product or action. The scientific journal endorsed the new methodology for DNA sequencing. Endurance. The ability to keep doing something difficult, unpleasant or painful for a long time. Marathon runners show remarkable physical and mental endurance. Engage in STH. To take part in something. The students engaged in lab experiments to study chemical reactions. Engrossed. Giving all your attention to something. He was engrossed in analyzing the microscope slides. Enjoy, good situation. To have or experience something good such as success. The research team enjoyed great success after their publication received international recognition. Inquiry, official process. An official process to discover the facts about something bad that has happened. An official inquiry was launched to investigate the lab accident. Enterprise, plan. A difficult and important plan. Establishing a new research facility is a complex enterprise involving multiple stakeholders. Entity. Something which exists apart from other things. The laboratory functions as an independent legal entity under the university. Entrance, coming in. When someone comes into or goes into a place, especially in a way that makes people notice them. The professor made a dramatic entrance into the lecture hall. Equate. To consider one thing to be the same as or equal to another thing. One should not equate correlation with causation in scientific studies. Eradicate. To destroy or completely get rid of something such as a social problem or a disease. Vaccination campaigns aim to eradicate polio worldwide. Erode, destroy. To gradually destroy a good quality or situation. Repeated budget cuts eroded the research team's capacity to perform experiments. Erode, remove. If soil, stone, etc. erodes or is eroded, it is gradually damaged and removed by the sea, rain or wind. Coastal cliffs erode naturally due to persistent wave action. Erosion, negative effect. When a good quality or situation is gradually destroyed. The erosion of trust between collaborators slowed progress in the project. Erupt. If a volcano erupts, it suddenly throws out smoke, fire and melted rocks. Mount Etna erupted violently, sending ash high into the atmosphere. Escape, forget. If something such as a name escapes you, you cannot remember it. The compound's chemical name escapes me, but I remember its structure. Escape, not notice. If something escapes your notice or attention, you do not notice or see it. A minor error escaped the researchers' notice during the review. Essence, basic quality. The basic or most important idea or quality of something. Curiosity is the essence of scientific inquiry. Essential, basic. The most basic and important. Water is essential for all known forms of life. Establish, decide. To decide something. The committee established new safety protocols for the laboratory. Establish, discover. To find out information or prove something. The study established a link between the gene mutation and disease risk. Ethical, good. Morally correct and good. It is ethical to credit all contributors to a scientific paper. Ethical, right, wrong. Relating to what is right or wrong. The lab follows ethical guidelines for animal testing. Ethics. Ideas and beliefs about what type of behavior is morally right and wrong. Scientific ethics demand honesty in reporting experimental results. Ethics, no plural. A belief or idea that influences the way you think or behave. His ethics guided the proper disposal of hazardous chemicals. Eventful. Full of interesting or important events. The conference was eventful, featuring multiple groundbreaking presentations. Eventual. Happening or existing at the end of a process or period of time. The eventual outcome of the trials confirmed the initial hypothesis. Ever such a very. It was ever such a complicated process to synthesize the compound. Ever such a phrase. A very. The experiment required ever such a careful setup. Ever-changing, growing, increasing, etc. Always changing, growing, increasing, etc. The ever-growing database of genetic sequences aids research worldwide. Every other day week. Alternating frequency. Classes run every other day. Every other day's week, etc. Happening one day's week, etc., but not the next. The lab assistant checks the cultures every other day to monitor growth. Every so often. Sometimes but not often. Every so often, researchers update their protocols based on new findings. Every so often. Sometimes but irregularly. Sensors recalibrate every so often. Every so often. Sometimes, but not often. Every so often, random errors appeared in the measurements. Evidence, law. Information that is given or objects that are shown in a court of law to help to prove if someone has committed a crime. Fingerprint evidence was crucial in the forensic investigation. Examine, test. To test someone to see how much they know or how well they can do something. The professor will examine students on both theory and practical skills. Excel, be good. To be very good at something. He excels in microscopy and imaging techniques. Excel yourself. To do something better than you usually do. During the final presentation, she excelled herself with detailed data analysis. Exceptional, unusual. Very unusual and not likely to happen very often. It was an exceptional occurrence to observe such rare chemical reactions at room temperature. Exclaim. To say something suddenly and loudly because you are surprised, annoyed, excited, etc. The scientist exclaimed in surprise when the experiment succeeded unexpectedly. Exclusive of STH. Not including something. The report shows total costs exclusive of equipment depreciation. Execute, DO. To do something such as follow a plan or order. The technician executed the lab protocol with precision. Execute, kill. To kill someone as a legal punishment. In certain jurisdictions, capital punishment may be executed by law, though this is rare in scientific contexts. Exemplify. To be or give a typical example of something. The experiment exemplifies how temperature affects reaction rates. Exercise, military. A set of actions that a group of soldiers do to practice their skills. The university lab organized a simulated safety exercise to train staff in chemical spill protocols. Exercise, use. To use a power, right or ability. The committee exercised its authority to approve the new experimental design. Exhibit, show feelings. To show a feeling, quality or ability. The subject exhibited remarkable patience during the long testing procedure. Exile. When someone has to leave their home and live in another country, often for political reasons. The scientist went into exile after opposing the government censorship of research. Expenditure. The total amount of money that a government or person spends. The laboratory's annual expenditure on chemicals and equipment reached $50,000. Experiment, do tests. To do an experiment. The team experimented with various catalysts to improve reaction efficiency. Experimental. Relating to tests, especially scientific ones. The experimental study tested new methods of solar energy conversion. Expire. If a legal document or agreement expires, you can no longer use it. The chemical safety permit will expire at the end of the year. Explicit, clear. Clear and exact. The instructions for the centrifuge were explicit and left no room for error. Explicit, showing sex. Showing or talking about sex or violence in a very detailed way. Some documentaries include explicit content that requires viewer discretion. Explosive, countable noun. A substance or piece of equipment that can cause explosions. The chemist stored explosives in a secure facility. Explosive, equipment. An explosive substance or piece of equipment can cause explosions. Nitroglycerine is highly explosive and requires careful handling. Explosive, situation. An explosive situation or subject causes strong feelings and may make people angry or violent. Disputes over lab safety protocols created an explosive situation among staff. Expressive. Showing your feelings. Her expressive presentation highlighted the excitement of the new findings. Exquisite. Very beautiful or perfect. The crystal structure revealed exquisite details of the molecular arrangement. Extend from gintooth over etc. To continue or stretch over a particular area of land or period of time. The experiment extended over 3 weeks to capture all seasonal variations. Extravagant. Costing too much or spending a lot more money than you need to. The extravagant use of rare chemicals is not sustainable in the lab. Extreme, opinions. Having such strong opinions or beliefs that most people cannot agree with you. His extreme opinions on genetic modification sparked debate at the conference. Extremist, countable noun. Someone who has such strong opinions or beliefs that most people cannot agree with them. The extremist in the debate rejected all standard scientific methods. Eye contact. When people look at each other, for instance when they are talking to each other. Maintaining eye contact helps instructors gauge students' understanding. Facial. Of or on the face. The patient had facial swelling after the allergic reaction.